JotPsych is the first AI-powered EHR built for therapists. It automatically writes your notes and handles scheduling forms and more. Try it free and get 50% off your first 2 months with code JOE at jotpsych.com. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1300. What's up? I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast, where I am building a private practice live every single week. I am working for up to 2 hours on specific things, and the things that I worked on in this last week, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share what's moving forward with it, things that I'm thinking through, and just evaluating all sorts of just different just content and ways to think through things. So when it comes to starting a practice, the last one, I talked through how I was looking at rates. I was thinking about different states, kind of things that I've landed on. So I emailed a whole bunch of my friends from Practice of the Practice to see if they would waive their fees in exchange for me talking about them publicly, walking through kind of just what to do. So one of the big things for next week and the week after is I'm going to be doing half-hour conversations with people I trust. And this is really just for me information gathering. So talking to people about what do they look for when they're buying a practice. You know, if my goal is to sell this practice potentially within 5 years, I say potentially because initially I started thinking, you know, I definitely want to sell it within 5 years. But, you know, if it's bringing in passive income, I'm going to have to make that choice at that point. Is it worth selling it? Or maybe as sort of a silent owner or silent partner at that point, is that even possible? So I'm going to be talking about that. So let me just go through my checklist. So I texted my accountant about doing the LLC in Wyoming through having a registered agent. So that would reduce taxes in a lot of different ways. Want to make sure that that is accurate. I double checked looking into Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania. Those seem like the leading places to hire first. So kind of thinking through that lens. Website wise, I'm going to be talking more with Tom from Session Sites. And all these people I'm going to have a memo of understanding with, saying that they're waiving their fees, and that I'm going to be kind of talking about my just working with them through this series so that they aren't paying for it, but that I'm getting that free. But then I'm going to disclose to you what would have been the cost of those types of services, because I think it's important to be able to say, sure, I launched a practice for X number of dollars, but what would your cost be? And so let's see. So moving forward on that. So talk to Dan King via email, and he's the one that's the master of kind of buying and selling practices. So we're going to be talking probably next week. Did some emailing with Jeremy Zug from Practice Solutions, kind of evaluating, you know, do I want to do do I want to work with different companies, or do I want to work with my own billing? And kind of where I'm leaning right now is that, you know, I love Headway, I love Alma. Both of those, we have lots of clients that work with them. As I think about this process, I'm evaluating, do I want to just do something that isn't based on a specific company doing my credentialing, but me learning that process again of, you know, getting the biller set up, getting the credentialer set up. So that's where I talked with Kay over at Lanyard. We're probably going to be talking about credentialing. So getting that done. Things I still have to do. I still have probably 30 minutes or so that I can work on this week, is talk to Brandon, one of our consultants who's really good at helping people start small group practices, to see if he would want to be involved. I haven't looked into the liability for a group yet. I am leaning towards insurance to take just one of the highest paying insurances in New York, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and then having private pay and probably working with an out-of-network biller for that. Let's see. I did write that letter to see about the exchange, and sent emails to a bunch of people. I also am talking with, potentially accountants, and talked with my own accountant, sent him, a text. Maybe I said that at the beginning about Wyoming, and haven't looked into phones yet. So really, I think in the next couple weeks, it's really going to be talking to people, interviewing them, making sure I have the idea of the structure, the plan, kind of what it is that it is the overall plan. And then from there, thinking through kind of what's next. If you're growing a group practice, you know how much time and energy it takes to keep your clinicians licensed in multiple states and keep up with renewals and CE requirements. That's where a Finer Framework comes in, your trusted partner for mental health licensure. A Finer Framework partners with mental health group practice owners to handle multi-state licensing, license renewals, and track continuing education, so you and your team can stay focused on serving clients, not buried in paperwork. Whether you're onboarding new hires, expanding your telehealth reach, or planning to grow into new states, they make the entire licensing process smooth and stress-free. Join the hundreds of clinicians that already trust a Finer Framework to save time and headaches. Visit afinerframework.org/Joe Sanok today to learn more. That's afinerframework.org/Joe Sanok. Licensing support made simple. So when I look at, let me just kind of outline this. So if we are looking at, let's see, today is, got to put this all in my journal here. So as I think about payments, it seems like most of those insurances, and we'll have to verify this, if they're doing $150 per session, which seems like on the high side, and I'm looking at 40% going to the clinician, then that would be $60 a session when they are less than 15 a week. And then when we look at part-time, which equals 15 sessions, we do that 15 times 60. So that would be $900 a week, plus we give them 5 non-clinical, and if we do that at 25 a session, so that's $125, that would be $1,025, I think. Yep, $1,025 per week. And if we do that times 50 weeks a year, so they get 2 weeks paid, that would equal $51,250. So we could offer a range of $49K to probably $52K per year. So that would be over 26 pay periods. That would be $1971.15 per 2 weeks. Now, if we do that same math, so that's the part-time, and then if we do full-time, we're going to do 25 sessions average per week times, although 25 like that's a lot, but no, I mean, that's full-time. So 25 sessions per week times 60 a session. Again, we're taking that 40%, that'd be $1,500. And then we're going to give them 10 hours of non-clinical times that 25. So that's an extra $250. So that brings us to $1,750. We're going to do that times 48 weeks. So that's going to be $72,000. So if we did a range of like 68 to 73, and then that's going to end up being over 26 pay periods, $2,769.23 every 2 weeks, and a 35-hour work week. All right, so what we're looking at here is probably offering over a 2-week period. If we're looking at 15 sessions per week on average with 5 sessions of non-clinical hours, we're going to define those not as note-taking or things like that, but things that will move the practice forward. So that's blogging, things along those lines. And we have to get some referrals coming in first. So we're going to want to build that website. We're going to then work on the credentialing and the insurance side of things. We'll have to look at talking to the attorney about, do we need to pay people while we're waiting for them to get credentialed and start taking new sessions and getting that automation going. We also need to get our phone system. That's one thing, that phone system, and also the who's answering. So we'll reach out to some of our podcast sponsors and talk to folks around that as to who's answering. I would rather not be answering the phones, or I would also like to have it be relatively automated for me. So yeah, so 72,000 or so for full-time, 51 or so for part-time. And then I think phone systems, who's answering, website, credentialing. I know I said all this, but I'm just kind of organizing my thoughts. Or credentialing, and then billing. So that would be website and SEO. Phones, answering, and then we're going to need the liability. So even though I had all this on the previous checklist, I just wanted to make sure I kind of like go over it again for my own thinking. And then, yeah, I think that's what I'm working on next. And then obviously the LLC. I did ask my accountant if I should be filing an LLC, like just thinking through all of that. Should I do that this year or next year, depending on when we launch everything? All right. That's my quick check-in. I've got some more work to do. Got about half an hour left to work on all of that. And thanks so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. We couldn't do the show without our sponsors, and whether you're onboarding new hires, expanding your telehealth reach, or planning to grow into new states, a Finer Framework helps you out. You can take all those headaches out if you just head on over to afinerframework.org/Joe Sanok. Today, you can learn more. That's afinerframework.org/Joe Sanok. They make licensing support simple. Thank you for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.